the site is now under a VRAP, which is an official status, and it doesn't mean that we won't find things on site when we start digging, but it's very prescribed on what we do and how we take care of that and move forward. A lot of that stuff has been taken care of, as much as is known has been taken care of. And the manner in which the site is currently protected, has a protective layer, a temporary cover over the top of it. And when we start to excavate here and there, it's very prescribed on how we go about doing that, what we do if we find material. But that site, I don't know how many, Rick, do you know how many test sites there are, or test digs, test borings? I've seen the map, and it's...
throughout its history, maybe a couple hundred?
Yeah, it's pretty significant. It's been, test borings. So
between test pits, monitoring wells, and other things?
Yeah, and based on all of that, the best information that we have, there are a couple of spots that we need to really be paying attention to, and if we get into those areas, we would expect to hit something there. And the others, just because we don't expect to doesn't mean we won't. But there's in that the environmental covenants that are on site right now, they exist, they're done, they're in place, and that defines how we deal with all of that.
Thanks. About the funding sources, is this something where Great Falls is looking to take on the construction costs on their own, or are you looking for bank loans or other funding partners?
Well, yeah, I think for the most part it'll be bank loans. That's kind of how we do it typically. Yeah, and well, we do have some programs. I can't think of the name of the program, but there are some funding sources that will help with the environmental.
It's a revolving loan fund?
Revolving loan fund.
Yeah, Southern Maine Planning and Development.
Southern Maine Planning and Development, thank you.
Yeah.
And so we have met with them, and they will help with some of basically environmental.
Yeah, they have low interest loans available for you as you develop the property. Anything that's considered an eligible cost, like foundations, pavements, things like that, can become eligible costs.
Yeah.
So.
Excellent.
Just in time.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about how you guys get the public input and how decisions are then made after you gather it? Because I guess my question is, by seeing how small amount of people are here, how you go about making sure you get everybody's input and the decisions made?
Sure, yeah. Well, good question. I think one answer is this forum right here, and even though there's only a few people here, thankfully BCTV is broadcasting it, so anyone that's interested in maybe listening. We've had 2 listening sessions which were attended, were well attended, and we took a lot of notes on that. I think that when we have something to show, I think we do a better job at hopefully be able to get the word out that we're bringing some concepts. So if anyone's interested in looking at that or weighing in on it, giving their thoughts, on what we're looking at, then we would let people know that.
So who ultimately makes the decisions, I guess?
Well, honestly, ultimately, we make the decision, although it's not, I say we do, but it's really a community decision, because if our decision is not in alignment with what the community is looking for, then, it's oil and water the whole way, which is not a good place to be for development. Ultimately, it's a private development, so, that we could, if it were our style to simply say, this is what it is, here's what we're building, and that's what we could do, but I would expect a lot of resistance there, and that's just not our style. We don't want to, we're really trying to build something that ultimately we get buy-in from the community all the way through. And we think that that's the best way to proceed and have a win-win all the way around the table. But we'll have to process, the financial implications of it, what we're building, what we're using for materials, what it's going to look like, where things are going. We've got to process all of that and have to deliver, space that businesses can afford to rent and do business in, that residences can afford to rent and live there. And so we have to kind of keep that in mind.
Are you guys looking to partner with any tenants upfront, like during the design process, or are you looking to lock any of that in, or meet with specific people who might be staking a claim and helping with the design process?
Yeah, we definitely have a list. Julie has a list of interested businesses, and actually one resident has called up and said that they want in for a rental when there's one available. So she is keeping a list. Yeah, she's keeping a list, and anyone that is interested, I definitely would encourage to just reach out. And we haven't had a chance to reach out too much on that list yet. It just hasn't been time, but it will be coming up. So.
John, everybody's concentrating on the big industrial parcel over here.
Yeah.
You also own a duplex over on School Street. Do you know now if you have any plans to continue that as a residential part, or looking to do commercial there also?
Sorry, I don't have much to report on that. This process, we've had to really keep it pretty linear, and so I just have refrained from doing a lot of brainstorming on how we would use different parts until it was time. And the time's coming up, and we'll definitely be giving that some thought to see how that fits into the picture. If it doesn't fit in commercially, then I would assume it would sort of just remain as it is, or.
Well, hopefully not as it is, because it's.
Well, no, I mean, as an update, yeah, we would update it for sure, yeah, but, yeah, definitely.
Any other questions for John?
Anybody else?
Who do you reach out to get onto the business list?
Well, we can catch up afterwards here. Julie, you can reach out to, or what, if you got a second afterwards, we can
Yeah.
get her on the list, yeah?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, great. We will be, we'll be right here for a little bit if anyone has questions afterwards. And our next update meeting is 2 months from now.
Sorry, I need to find it.
Do you have it, Julie?
I will.
She's going to pull up what the next one is, but we currently have 3 scheduled, today and 2 more, and we plan to just continue them on the calendar as just as a regular check-in meeting.
April 14th at 10 a.m.
April 14th at 10 a.m.
And then June 15th at 6 p.m.
And then June 15th at 6 p.m. And are they all right here? Is the space available?
Yep.
Okay. Good. So if that's it, if no one has any more questions, then we can really appreciate everyone coming down. Thanks for your questions and for your interest. And if you don't have, you can always call Great Falls Construction, pretty easy to find. In the interim, any questions whatsoever, if you don't remember names, just call into the office and say, if you got a question about what's going on in Berwick, and somebody will get you to somebody that can answer your questions. So, all right?
Thank you, John.
everybody. Thank you.